There we go. We should be live. Let's see. Perfect. We are up. It says waiting. It does show I'm streaming though. There we go. All right. We up. Cool. Oh, what a day at work today, man. I am so scatterbrained. My head hurts, but we persevere because this game isn't going to make itself. Ah, yeah. A little bit of water always helps. All right. Let's get into it. So, where I left off, I was figuring out the ship customization window, specifically creating more upgrades. So, if we go to our upgrades, I have a few more sprites I can use for upgrades, which is always a good thing. Should probably move all those into ships. That's fine, though. Oh, let's see. Where are we at? God, there's so much stuff here. Upgrades. Here we go. So I was working on this, which is of type no 2D. That's fine. Interesting. So how are we going to store? This is of type upgrade. So why did it not change type? I thought I set this as an upgrade. There. I don't know why it was not showing as an upgrade. Weird. Anyway, it's there. Cool. So is now a class upgrade. Perfect. So let's see. I think we already sized it down where it needs to be. That looks about right. That's fine. Nothing too fancy there. So let's make another one. Turn speed, we have deck speed. Let's do a new scene. We're going to do a custom scene of type upgrade. And this one's going to be synthocracy. What was I going to do? We did, let's do acceleration speed. X speed. And we'll name that. It's already got the type. Let's add. No, not want that. I want to add a sprite. And then what we can do, we can go into add the acceleration speed sprite. So that's about like 100 pixels wide. We do want to scale that down. So I'm just going to set the scale to be 0.5. There we go. So it's about the same size as all the other ones. I'm going to save that. Save. Cool. Look at that. We're making upgrades left and right. So in theory, so how am I even using these upgrades? Let's go back and look at my ship code. Because ship, we have apply upgrades. So I'm resetting all the modifiers. And I'm iterating through all of our upgrades. And basically, the upgrade itself, how am I going to store that? Upgrade. Let's look at the upgrade code. Oh, so it's going to have an effects variable. How is this going to be set, though? Oh, I see. It's going to be set by this. Interesting. That's going to be weird though. I think what I should do is I should move all of these modifiers into an effects thing. That would make more sense to me, I think, because how I have this right now, this wouldn't work very well. I just threw that together pretty quick. And in our ship code, we're basically going through all of our upgrades, and we're saying, hey, if upgrades is in, this isn't going to work. So what is upgrades? Upgrades is my node 2D that has all of my upgrades. So I'm basically getting all the children of this node because that holds all of them. And then we are going through and we're saying, hey, for each node in this upgrades, if this node has this effect on it, this is not going to work currently. Not how it's written here. So I think what I'm going to do is we might be able to make this work. So here's what I think I should do. We have this class, and we're checking if it has these various things. I wonder if I should make it like have these exported variables that I can set in the scene, or do I just want to have a genericized object and then that's all populated by this? I think that's what I might do. So let's modify this to just have effects, and this is going to hold a dictionary, and then this is going to be moved in there. Boom. So that has all the effects, and I think I might, let's see, so that comes after scene path. So we'll do effects, we'll make it an object. We will copy all of this stuff into here. And then I don't really know what else to do for this. These are just checking if like this is the presence of this. So maybe I might keep that how it is for now. Then we also have our tags and required tags. So yeah, I think that works. The rotational thruster overtune, I do like that. So effects, we're going to keep it like that. That makes sense. So we'll take this and we'll just copy this over to my upgrade. Boom. Here's an example. And then I'll just comment this out just for fun. So we're going to have effects and expected to be set by the calling instance before ready would be called. And then I'm also going to have var other effects, which is an array. And that's going to be basically 0 value, empty array. And yeah, so all these should be set. Then we have to modify our ship code so that we can say, hey, for you, so we'll check each one. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, var e, so I'm doing more allocations here, equals, let's see, what type should this be? This is going to be a dictionary, equals u dot effects. And then what we can do is we can just change all of this here. So we're going to have to change this here. So we're going to have to say if e has, so we're going to have to use that has method. If e dot has, and we can put at speed, then we can do it that way. Because I think that's going to be a cleaner way. So let's just do this. Copy. If e dot has save speed, change this to e. See, I think I'm making a mistake. I shouldn't code when I'm so damn tired, because I'm probably going to end up doing all this again anyway. But this makes sense to me in the moment, so we're going to go with it. I really should think about it more, but we're just going with it. Max speed. There we go. E dot has. So we're just applying our basic effects right now. And then we can go through and we can determine how we're going to handle the other effects, because I haven't thought about that at all, but they're not going to be just pure stat changes like these are. They're going to determine, the only thought I've given it so far is those other effects are going to determine, they're basically whether they're present or not. So it's more of a Boolean data type we would use for that. In this case, we're just storing them in an array. If the array has them, you know it's true. If it doesn't, it means it's false. And then, so for example, like a radar jammer, if you have it, it's going to jam like homing missiles or whatever. If you don't have it, it's not going to affect anything. So that's my thought process there so far. That's about the only consideration I've given it. There might be other effect types that we want to add, but there's a lot that you can do with just that, because there are some cool things that I do want to do to where, like, it affects the UI as well. So in Escape Velocity Nova, like, you had a basic mini map, and then if you had more upgrades, it gave you more detail on the mini map. You can see the size of things, you can see the color, which is like, are they hostile or not? So all that was pretty huge. Oh my god. Fighting off a nap, but we working. All right, I still have a to do to apply the other effects, so that should be fine. So this is going through all of our upgrades in our list, and anytime we want to apply, we're just going to reset our modifiers, and we're going to just apply them all. Now, this does have a performance hit if you start adding a bunch of upgrades. It's kind of weird to keep resetting it all the time. In reality, I probably could just get by just by increasing, like, just applying the upgrade that's being applied. But this makes sure that we, maybe I could change this to reapply upgrades, and then I can have a function that's just apply upgrade. Because my thought process was for this, it's like, what if I'm removing an upgrade? How would I know what to do? I mean, I guess I could just like subtract the effects, and then I would be good in theory. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. But yeah, anyway, we would still have to do like all this for an apply upgrade anyway. So maybe what I might do is I'm going to do apply all upgrades. Let's do reset and apply. Reset and apply all upgrades. Let's see. Reapplying all upgrades. Useful for initialization initialization as well. I'll just put an initialization. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have another function to apply a single upgrade. So this is useful for when you're buying an upgrade from a ship or whatnot. So we're going to do func apply upgrade, and it's going to specify, I'm going to say upgrade, and it's going to be a node 2D. No, it's going to be an upgrade type. And this will return nothing. So void. And what we're going to do is we're just going to say, hey, for this, oh, hang on, go back up. There we go. I'm going to, damn it, I had it. There we go. Copy this, put it down here, highlight it all again, shift tab to de-indent it where it needs to go. So as each upgrade, so we can do upgrade.effects. Save, and then we do have an error on line 168, which is I assume where I'm doing that. So ready. So I'm going to say, what is it? Reset and apply all upgrades. So we'll do that. We'll save that. And then let's go back to apply upgrade. So we're passing in the upgrade that we want to apply. And yeah. Or maybe we should just pass in the dictionary. I think that might be a wiser thing. So let's change this to just pass in, we'll say effects. We'll just say E. It's not a very good thing. Come on, damn it. Dictionary. We'll get rid of this. And what we'll do is we'll just say effects. I'm going to copy this. And I'm just going to change it everywhere that I need to. Effects, effects, effects. And then we have to go down here. Effects. Oh, God, no. Effects. There we go. So that works. So we're passing in what the effects of the upgrade are. And then we're just setting our modifiers based on that. And then I could potentially have a remove upgrade. But I think if we're doing that to keep it clean, whenever we're removing an upgrade, it's going to be a pretty rare thing. We would just reset and apply all upgrades. So we would delete that upgrade, and then we would just go through and we would reset and apply it. So first thing we would do is this upgrade node still valid? Because there might be a point where I delete a node and it might be queued to be freed up from the scene tree, but it might not be done yet. And we could still potentially add it. So we're going to say if not is instance valid, and we're going to say U for upgrade. And we're going to say bum bum instance is not valid. Skip this iteration. So we'll just do a continue, which will skip this loop. It'll just skip to the next iteration, and it will keep going through. And if it is valid, it will check all this stuff, and it will do the thing. So cool. And then here we don't have to check for that because we're only passing in the effects, and we're just checking if the effects has each variable type, and then we're just applying it as needed. Probably not the best way to do it, but whatever, it works. So that should work in theory. So now that we have that, let's go back to our upgrade. So we have the effects and we have the other effects. So basically, when we apply an upgrade like from our shipyard screen, we're going to be looking at this struct because this is what's going to determine all of that stuff. And I feel like we should pass in the effects as well as any other effects that it has. So we should pass in what the effects are. We should also keep a mind of the tags. So now I'm rethinking this. Because this is all stuff that's just going to get passed on to the upgrade anyway. So what if I just pass in this entire frickin' object for it? So maybe I could have a variable called upgrade data or something, and it just passes in this stuff. And then it could be accessed that way. Maybe that's the way to go about it. That doesn't seem clean, though. And I don't know why you need to have it a class if it's not going to actually do anything. So, yeah. I need to think about this some more. Let's get rid of this for now. And then we'll just say, what should I call it? Let's do just upgrade data. Upgrade data, which is going to be a dictionary. And then for this, if you want to see, actually, you know what we'll do? Expected shape of upgrade data. And then what I'll do is not very clean, but I'll just copy this. God damn it. Boom. And I will just de-indent this. And then I will copy it all. So this is what it's going to be like. There. So you can see what the expected shape is supposed to be. So yeah. So we're just going to pass in that upgrade data. Let's refactor the code I just wrote on my ship to handle that change. So we're just going to put in upgrade data. And then we're going to say, hey, upgrade data dot effects. So let's just do a search for this. Actually, you know what? I hate the way the search and replace works in Godot. So I'm just going to do this manually. Because it's such a pain to deal with. This is quicker. So we'll just do it this way. Okay, I'm so close to being able to apply upgrades. And then I can start working on the actual UI. To like select what upgrades we have available. And so on. And then we have to go down here. Reset and apply all upgrades. So we'll do E, and this is going to equal u.upgradeData.effects. Just going through that. Could probably even do something like that here. So I do have to do a to do apply other effects. So no big deal there. That's fine. And it works. So we'll put that there too. Cool. So that should work. Now let's let's add another list entry in this list here. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this down here. So this is, what should we call this one? So let's see. Let's look at our upgrades that we have here. Our scenes. Upgrade. So we have turn speed already. So we're going to have an acceleration speed. So we're going to name this one Synthocracy. What should we call it? Thruster. So that's rotational thruster overtune. So this can be thruster overtune. For now, I'm probably just going to simplify these. The title is going to be the same as the key, just so we can access that from within when we pass the object. The description, I'm just going to put something basic. This upgrade increases your ship's acceleration speed. Then for the scene path, I'm just going to copy the path down here, paste that there. And then for the effects, let's see, how much is our acceleration? So if I take a look at my fastest ship versus my slowest ship, what are my ships? There's sprites. Let's see, let's take a look at, so we have Synthocracy Luxury Shuttle, which is our fastest ship. Let's take a look at this. So over here, the acceleration speed is 3.2. And our slowest ship, which is probably going to be one of our, I would imagine, flagships. Let's close this. And let's just do one of like the heavy freighter. This thing's probably a tank. 0.6. So even something like a 0.5 would be massive for one of these ships. So I think that might be what I might set that to be. So let's close this. Let's close this. Go back to our script. Let's go back to upgrades. Let's set the acceleration speed to be 0.5. I don't know why I did that. There we go. And then the cost that we're going to have for this is it's going to take up a bit of mass. So this one takes up -5 mass. I'm going to do -5 here as well. And then it doesn't have any other effects. So we're not going to handle that. And the tags are going to be the same as this. It's going to be Synthocracy and Mechanical, and you have to have a ship that has the Synthocracy tag and the Mechanical tag, or else you can't apply this upgrade. So there we go. We got one done next. Let's do another one. Copy, paste. So next one we got is a deceleration speed. So we'll do Synthocracy. Let's see. Forward thruster overtune. And maybe I'll name this one rear thruster overtune. And for this one, we can just, I'm going to copy this description. It's not terribly fun right now, but we can say deceleration speed. Oh, that's the title. God damn it. Okay. Cut this, put that in here, copy this into the title. Boom. For the scene path, I'm just going to copy that path, paste that in there. For the effects, we can get rid of these. We don't need these. Deceleration speed. So all the deceleration of all the ships by default is, I think, 0.5. So if I just add another 0.5 to that, that'd be massive. So I'm going to do just 0.5. Just, again, I can tweak these as needed. And then for this one, for cargo space, it's going to be -5 as well. No, wait, that's cargo space. We want -5 for mass. -5. And then we'll cut that out. So we got mass, mass. Okay, perfect. There are no other effects. And of course, tags. Same kind of dealio here. Boom and boom. So I wonder if I can get rid of required tags. But they're not always going to match. So I think that there is a... If I look at my tags list... There's a bunch of tags I'm not using. So acceleration. So this one I can give tags acceleration. So we can do rotational thrusters. So this one, we can say tags dot acceleration, because this one increases your ship's acceleration. So these are not always going to match. And then we can do deceleration. I don't remember why I have these tags here. I made them at some point. That's in the required. I don't need that. So this one will be tags dot deceleration. Maybe I was going to use the tags to determine like what the effect is. But for now, I'm not really using the tags. Do I have anything for turn speed or rotation? No. So what was I thinking when I wrote tags? Tags can be applied to anything and everything, and it will allow us to specify behavior or interactions based on tags. For example, a ship that has the electrical tag may be susceptible to an attack from a weapon with the EMP tag. Okay. So maybe these tags are still going to be important, because maybe if I have to disable my ship or do something, I could also it could also affect all the upgrades temporarily. So I'm still going to include the tags even though I'm not using them yet. Normally for something like this, one might be inclined to set these as enums. However, doing so would mean this would never be organized, and any attempt in doing so would break saved data. So we're going to go with string constants so we can reorder and organize them for readability. Okay. So that's my decision logic there. And then we have a whole massive list here. We need to get a list of the tags. I'm sure that there's a better way, but whatevs. There is a better way. There's a maybe. So I don't think I added any tags here. So then in theory, they're all here, but that's kind of a weird thing. Huh. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I might reevaluate this whole thing to just be a list of like a dictionary, and then just have the key. But then how would you specify that? I don't know. This needs more thought to do. This needs more consideration. What was I thinking here? Maybe there is a better way. Okay. So we'll keep that there for now. I don't have anything for turn speed or for steering or something like that. I do have something for strafe. Democracy, tradable, turret. Something that can be sold or traded. Cool. Illegal, contraband, breaking the law. Nice. Freighter, fragmental. I got lots of tags. Apparently I was really thinking about this when I made all this stuff. So I'm just going to keep that there for now. Acceleration, deceleration. I don't really have one for steering or rotation, but that's fine. But maybe I should make one. So what should I call that? Steering? Ship? Sensor, like rotation? Yeah, I'm going to do steering. So this is going to go before this. Const steering string equals, and we'll do steering. Usually denotes something that modifies the rotation abilities of a ship, weapon, etc. Save, and then I'm going to add steering to my list down here because that's what I'm doing before, and I don't understand why, but steering. So why do I need to get this list of tags? Am I even using this anywhere? So let's do Control Shift F. I want to find tags.list anywhere. And I want to find it like in all of everything. Find. So we only have it here. Oh, in Modder Ship Creator. Ah, I see. So when I was doing my UI to be able to select tags, I had to have a way to list all the tags. And I did that by just getting a list because I wasn't able to find a way to do that. So maybe I don't need this right now. I'm just going to leave it alone though. So I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, cool. Okay, so we've got some upgrades that we can apply to Synthocracy ships. And let's see. So let's go to my UI, shipyard. We'll go to our customize window. So this is where it will list our current modifications that we have, and then we have this thing that will see available modifications for sale. And I think what I might do is I might just make a UI that pops up. So let's add a child node here. I'm going to add some sort of control. So we'll say pop up. So what should we have here? What is the base class for pop-up dialogues, base container control for pop-ups and dialogues, base class for window dialogues, base dialogue for user notification, a file dialog, pop-up panel. Let's look up Godot 3.6 pop-ups. It's a sub-window and modal by default. It has helpers for custom pop-up behavior. So we had the pop-up. I looked at this earlier. And then we have some signals. What do we have as far as like window dialog? What does this give us? Let's be sizable. There's a style box we can set. It does have a texture button that says get close button. Interesting. It's by default top level control that draws a window decoration and allows motion and resizing. Interesting. So let's go look at pop-up menu. Pop-up menu is a control that lists a display of options. They are popular in toolbars or context menus. So that's not what I'm looking for. Pop-up dialog. I see. So that's just, okay. Pop-up panel. Another base class. Window dialog. Inherited by accept dialog. Dialog is useful for small notifications to the user about an event. It can only be accepted or closed with the same result. Okay. We have confirmed. Does it give us multiple options for the... So we can add buttons to it, though. And a custom action. Action will be passed to the custom action signal when pressed. If true, right will replace the button of any siblings. Right will place the button to the right of any sibling buttons. Okay. So I could probably use this accept dialog. Let's take a look at window dialog. So we can get the close button. Does it give us any other, it doesn't give us any other methods to like add custom. So we probably need that accept dialog. Inherited by confirmation dialog. Dialog is for confirmation of actions, but has a default OK and cancel button in host order, OS order. Interesting. Okay. So we can probably, do we get to change what the buttons are named? So I like to name my action buttons with what the action actually is. So for example, purchase upgrade or something, or cancel, right? So cancel's fine. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this confirmation dialog. And then, because I think that that might be what we can use. So let's make just a child node of the root. That's just a confirmation dialog. And we'll just say, I'm just going to name it pop-up. And then, actually, no, I'm going to name it CD. Where's my rename? Just double click, damn it. CD for confirmation dialog. And then CD, we're going to be able to, in theory, have it show up, and it's going to say, please confirm. So when we use our pop-up method, we'll be able to specify like the size of it. And it looks like we'll need to adjust the theme to handle that. But, so let's see. Pop-ups will hide by default unless you call pop-up or any of the pop-up functions. Making them visible for editing is fine, but they will hide upon running. Gotcha. Yep. So that makes sense. So I can have all my stuff here in this CD. So what I might do is I wonder if is stuff already in a center container in the pop-up. So let's add a child node. Let's do a label test. So it is not centered, which is fine. So let's get rid of this. I don't like this idea the more I think about it. Delete node, get rid of that. What I kind of want to do is this browse ship window. Actually, you know what? No. Yeah, I might just bring up a whole nother screen. So I'm going to do new scene, and I'm going to make it a user interface. And we're going to name this one upgrade selection. Oh wait, we already have an upgrade selection. What the hell? Apparently I was already working on this. Make a selection. Okay, so what am I doing here? Okay, so I started it. I started it. Got it. So let's see, theme, we're using button theme. Let's not do that. Let's use our basic theme. Basic UI, biggity bam. And then we already have, I don't like this color rectangle. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna put a panel here instead. Attach node, panel, because I styled my panel the way I want. And then we can make the panel be basically full rectangle. And then we have a center container, we have a VBC, vertical box, a VBox container. And then we have a label here. And then for this one, I will just make this one say something like, here are the upgrades that are available for sale. Make a selection. And then in this VBC, we are going to basically create, so we have shipyard grid item. I'm going to make a node that is called upgrade item. Or no, we're just going to do it on the fly. So let's take a look at what this is going to be. So let's add a HBox container. I'm going to just name this HBC for now. And then inside this, we are going to add a child node of, let's add a child node of texture rectangle. For the texture rectangle, I want it to, so let's just test this out, right? So we're going to add a sprite of what the actual upgrade is. So do we hand-drawn upgrades? So let's do acceleration sprite. Let's add this here. I don't want it to necessarily be that big. I want it to be a defined size. So if I set a minimum size of, let's say, I don't know, 50 by 50, does it scale? Do I have to set it like expand? Do I want it to just scale? Do I want it to keep centered? Expand is on. Okay, so if we have expand on, then it will, let's see, expand. Textures to fit the bounding rectangle, and it doesn't really say it anywhere. It's probably listed here in the documentation, but if we specify the minimum size, it will scale to that size. It won't scale over it. It'll just scale to that size, which is fine with me. Took me a while to figure that out. So we can add in that texture rectangle. We can make sure that the expand flag is on. We can make sure that the stretch mode is set to scale. Maybe it's scale on expand. That's what it's defaulted to. It seems to do the same thing. So we can do that there. Cool. So we have a texture rectangle that we put our texture in. We can resize it to be a certain size. That way we can see what it is. And then, let's see, maybe we also want to add, let's add a label. Maybe we'll do a rich text label. And in this rich text label, I'm just going to put something like color. You know what? No, we're going to do so synthocracy. Well, we're going to be doing BB code. So we should have this enabled. So we're going to be doing do we have to do anything though? So we can do like a table, like a cell, but test. So why is this like not showing anything? Color equals lime. Good. Color. Let's read the documentation on this. So rich text can contain custom text, fonts, images, and some basic formatting. This label manages these as an internal tag stack. It also adapts itself to given width heights. Assignments to BB code text clear the tag stack and reconstruct from the property's contents. Any edits made to BB code text will erase previous edits made for other manual sources such as append BB code or push and pop methods. Rich text label doesn't support entangled BB code tags. For example, instead of using bold, use, okay. That's weird. Unlike label, rich text label doesn't have a property to horizontally align text to the center. Instead, use BB code enabled and surround that in a center tag as follows. Example, okay. There is currently no built-in way to vertically align text either, but this can be emulated on relying on anchors or containers with the fit content height property. Okay. Interesting. Upgrade selection. So do we have to specify a minimum size as well? Okay. So we do have to have a minimum size. So this, I just want this to keep centered. I want this to keep aspect centered. So then this, I don't think it needs to have a minimum Y. So now it's actually, so okay, so we do have to have like a minimum size though for it to work. Unless for our size flags, can we set it to just expand? So we can. So we can set that to expand. We don't need to have a minimum size, so we can get rid of that. No, 0. And yeah, so now we can basically put in here like syntocracy. You know, like what, this is just testing, right? So this will all be populated by code, but I want to mock up what we need to make, and then I can populate it all by code. So then we're just going to say syntocracy rear thruster overtune is what it was called. And then testing just to see if it keeps going. It does a scroll thing. Interesting. Overtune. And then we will say ba black sheep. Okay. So we can basically say like x speed. And then we can do like color equals lime. Where did it go? Yeah, color equals lime plus 0.5. And then we can do color. Cool. And then we can also add, and then mass will be, we'll do color equals red. We'll do -5 with a closing color tag. So that doesn't look that great. So for the size flags, you probably want it to also, that just doesn't do anything. So minimum size, we'll have to have something here for this. So let's do what, 50? 75? So we're gonna have to wing it. So let's do 65. Does that look good? 65 looks all right. So make a selection. It has what it is. Doesn't look that great, but, and then what we can do is I kind of want to add a button, but I want to like put everything in the button, if that makes sense. I want to make it a child of a button. So I just wrap it all in a I can't use base button. So let's just use a button. And then just for fun, let's put this as a child of the button. And what if we set the button to have a minimum size of, I don't know, 75? So why does this get pushed down? Oh, because it's centered. Do we have a horizontal alignment then? Margin. Row direction end. I don't want the content to be centered though. Align left, align center. I need vertical alignment. I don't think we have that. So let's scrap this idea. If we just want to make it a button that just has something on it. The text doesn't support rich text label, I don't believe. Let's take a look at the button. Text. We do have font color. This is all like theme properties though. Okay. So in Godot 3.6, how to make a custom button. Let's see what we got in Reddit. Create a button scene with a script attached that exports a texture 2D. Create an instance of the button in your main scene. Set the texture to and text in the inspector. Now you should have the main connect button's mouse entered. Okay, so button sprite. I don't think that's even what I'm looking for. Why did I bring that up? There we go. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just fighting it today, I tell you what. Let's go back to the upgrade selection. So let's cancel this idea. Let's just make this a child of that. Let's get rid of this button. We don't need that. Then what I'll do is in this HBC, I'm going to add child node. I'm going to add a button. And I'll just say buy. So what I might do is this rich text label. I might do something that's kind of like a table, basically. So let's look up BB code table. Okay. Oh, it's similar to HTML. That's fine. So let's try this. Let's just knock out like a quick BB code thing here. So let's copy their example here. Table, copy. Let's do this. Table. So we're going to do upgrade name. We're going to have some sort of modifier. So let's say ACK acceleration speed. And then let's do another TH. We'll say mass. And then we'll do a closing TH. And then let's get rid of these table rows. We'll just start with 1. So we'll do synthocracy rear thruster overtune. And then we're going to do, let's just copy this. And let's add another one too. TH. We'll add price. TH. So in this one, we're going to have acceleration speed plus 0.5. We're going to probably put that in color tags. Color equals lime. 0.5. The closing color tag. And then let's add color equals red with -5 with a closing color tag. And then we're going to add another TD. And then this is going to have a price of, say, however much, right? Let's say 5,000. So it's going to be formatted. And then how does this look if we put this simple table? I did not want to open that, goddammit. I didn't click that. Back here. Thank you. So if we just paste this in here. So it doesn't like table, apparently. Okay. Let's go back to the documentation. BB code text. So do we have a... BB code and rich text label. Here we go. Table. Oh, and we do cells. Creates a table with number of columns. Well, that's okay. So this wasn't even useful. So let's try what they're doing. Table. What are they doing? Has a number of columns. So we're going to do table equals. So we've got what? 4 columns? We'll just do table equal 5. Table. And then it's going to have a bunch of cells. So we're going to do cell. And we're going to have closing cell. Two, 3, 4, 5. And then in these, we can have, like, let's say, for example, this, we can put that here. We can add this here. We can add this here. We can add this. We'll just keep it at 4. So 4. We can add that. And then we can do acceleration speed. We can do mass. This is probably going to look like ass. We'll give it a shot. Let's take this, copy this. I know I didn't add a header row, and that was intentional. But I want to see how this looks. Then we're going to have a button that says like buy or some shit. Button. Buy. Right? And then this, I would like this to be able to expand. So why is this not grow direction? Size flags, I want you to expand as large as you need to based on your content. This is already set to expand as much as it can. So we're going to have to specify a minimum size here. So let's do, I don't know, 700. How's that look? Not big enough. Let's do 1200. Better. So let's do, what, 900? Okay. So it's trying to keep the tables, like, aligned. Not what I want. Let's think here. So let's scrap this whole damn thing entirely. Let's delete this. We don't need any of that. What did I do for my ship window? So we have shipyard grid item. So we just made a grid item, which is a panel. It has the texture for the actual ship. It has a separator, it's got a label, and it has a cover over it. That's a pretty basic thing. And when I click this, it has a clicked signal. Looks like that's one that I specify. So I just made, yeah, so I do have to change that. Emit signal clicked. So we're doing on panel GUI input event. Okay, so we're doing, I could do something similar like this, except for the upgrade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to duplicate this to be upgrade grid item. Where did it go? Right here. Upgrade grid item. And I'm going to... Can I detach the script? Yes. Does it still have a signal? So we still have GUI input. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add child. I'm going to attach a script to this. Upgrade grid item. I'm going to create that script. And then for this, I'm going to disconnect this signal, which should not affect this one. Then what I'm going to do is on here, I'm going to connect that signal, GUI input. I'm going to connect it to I'm going to connect it here. I'm going to declare my own custom signal, upgrade clicked, and we'll do upgrade name. And so then we're declaring some variables, we're getting some stuff, we're setting the stuff. Okay. So let's copy this because we are going to want to use that as well. Util, determine if input event. So we don't need to be worried about being authorized. Potentially. And then we're going to emit signal. Oh, upgrade. Clicked. And we don't have a ship name. So we need to specify some stuff. Go back to shipyard grid item. Have some variables here. Should copy this over. So I'm just going to set this to be, where is my copy path? Paste that. So ship name, we should change this to upgrade name. Upgrade name, string testing. So we're going to have name of the upgrade. We're going to have the price. How much it costs to purchase this upgrade. And we don't need ship class. So what I might do is I might just get rid of all this. I'm just going to do image path is handy. You have to get that somehow, though. I'm going to get rid of all of this. I'm going to say should be set before ready. And I'm going to say var upgrade data is going to be a dictionary. We should be able to pass that and get all the stuff we need. Dictionaries are passed by reference, so it shouldn't be too big of a lift in terms of I just can't make any changes to that dictionary, so I have to be cognizant of that. No mutations to it. We don't need authorized. We're going to get rid of that. So then we're going to init signal, and we're going to say upgrade data dot title. Okay. So going back to this grid item, we have a texture rectangle, which we basically have set to, let's set this as something more reasonable. Like that. Let's get rid of this. We no longer need it. And then I'm going to set this to be minimum size. I want this to be, let's do something like 100 by 100. And then I want this to just scale. I don't want it to fill. That didn't seem to do anything. Keep centered. Convert the size. And then so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of that separator. Basically doing the same thing I was. So this grid item, instead of having this minimum size be something crazy, let's have it be minimum size 700 and then like, I don't know, 100. And then we can add a label here. Reset that. Let's add an HBox container so I can organize things. Let's put the texture rect in there. Let's put the label in there. And then this whole thing is a button, basically, is what it's going to be. So then we can put stuff here like dope ass ship of justice. Awesome. So if we do something like synthocracy, rear thruster overtune. I don't know why this label should have it be, I don't know, like 500. 550. Closer. 600. Too much. 575. Good enough. Synthocracy, rear thruster overtune. And then here we can just basically put our formatting. I think this is where we might want to do that rich text label. So let's get rid of this label. Delete node. Let's do add child node, rich text label. We will make the minimum size. What was it? 6 or 565 or some shit? No, that's not what I wanted. 565. Yeah, close enough. What was it? 575. I think it was 575. Yeah. So now we have this rich text label. So here we can do synthocracy, rear thruster overtune. And then we can basically put like what all the stats are. So we can say something like, what was it? Acceleration, speed, plus, then we're going to do color. Lime, plus 5. Oh, this is text. Get rid of this. We want BB code to be enabled. Paste that there. There we go. And then we can do ending color tag. And then we can basically just add like all of our stuff. Hey Pavel, what's going on? I'll tell you what's good. I'm having a rough time today. I'm feeling like I'm at 25% brain power today, and I'm just struggling along, and I think I'm just doing more damage than good. That's what I feel like today. But we're still trucking on. We're still doing it. So here, then we can do mass, and then we can just do basically, I do like the idea of having some sort of separator. So let's do that. Mass, and then we can do color equals red. We'll say -5. Then we're going to add closing color tag. Maybe you should take a bit of a break, otherwise you will get burnt out. Probably. But I've been thinking about this all day. I've been wanting to get home and work on my game. So today was just a rough day at work. My brain is fried because of all the context switching. Like, I don't believe that people can actually multitask for real. I think up here we all just have a bunch of single core processors and we're constantly switching between threads. And today was just nuts. Feels like I couldn't even have a complete thought before 2 other emergencies popped up on my desk. So it's just a lot of multitasking, which is very costs a lot of mental resources, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I'm so close to getting upgrades to like work, so I want to get that going. Oh, that's good. All right. So mass, blah, blah, blah. And then we can also add price. And we could say something like, I don't know, color equals red as well. And we could say something like, I don't know, 5,000 credits or something. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I just want to put something there. Color. And then that's the basics. So how do we do? So first, let's do this. Let's do a center tag. And then we're going to have a closing center tag. And that did not work out how I expected. It still added a new line. So maybe I should just do this. And this. So what I can do is for this, let's see here. Size flags, I don't want you to fill. That's not working how I expect. So grow direction, let's see. What do we have for anchor? No anchors. Size. Let's have a size of like, I don't know, 75. And then for the HBox container, alignment begin, alignment center. That doesn't control the horizontal alignment at all. Yeah. Make the price yellow if you have enough. No, don't center it. Look pretty bad. Okay. I like that idea. Let's make color yellow. And then we don't want to center it. Let's get rid of that. I do want to like center it vertically though, but rich text label doesn't give me that functionality. So I have to wing it by like the size of it. So what I might do is I might just, yeah, they get their container. So there's got to be a way that I can specify the items. I don't see it though. See, one thing that's nice about Godot 4 is they revamped the whole control system. And there's a bunch more options on how you want to do layout. And it more mirrors like how I think of like just doing layout with like HTML or CSS with like Flexbox. But it feels like I'm always missing something in Godot 3.6. Freaking bug, get out of here. There we go. So vertical, that's not what we want. That's not what we want. End. Huh. So I would have to somehow offset this. So let's say like, I don't know, 15. So yeah, that would offset it, but then it just looks weird. So I had to specify this. Let's do 65 just to be safe. And then I can manually do it. And as long as I have, there's got to be a programmatic way of doing that. This seems weird. But I can have that there, price, and then, yeah. So what I might do is I might make this. So where is my... built-in color names, cool. Whoa, we could have effects and stuff? That's awesome. I did not realize BB code was so powerful. This is great. So let's take a look. I want to be able to just increase the size of a horizontally centered. I would like to be able to font. I don't want to use a custom font. I just want to use the font that we're using and then just set a different size. Why is this so goddamn difficult? Okay, so let's see. We have a reference here. That makes sense. Color names, cool. Color codes, handling URL tag clicks. Image vertical offset. Animation effects. These are cool stuff. Yeah. Ghost. Pulse. Okay. That's interesting. You could do your own custom BB code commands. That's pretty powerful. But not powerful enough to be able to vertically center some shit. So I got to do it manually. So whatever. This should be fine just to get started. I can tweak this as we go. But what we're going to do here is we need to construct this label. So we're going to specify what the texture of this is. Let's just throw in a different texture just to see if it does it right. So that's not handling the scaling right. So we want to keep aspect centered. And that should handle no matter what we throw at it. Max speed, rotate, radar dish. Yeah, it should handle all that stuff. So cool. So we got that. And it says what it is. I would like this to be, I don't know, I kind of want the text, like the heading to have some emphasis. So maybe I might make that bold. We'll do a little B. Then we're going to do another little B. That did not make it bold at all. B text B makes text bold. Okay, can I make it italic or underline at least? So what if we do U? Underline looks off. I don't like that. What about italic? Doesn't support italic. I wonder if it's because of the font resource I'm using. If there's no, I don't know. It seems limited so far. There's anything special? Label nodes are great for displaying text, but they have limits. If you want to change the color of the text or its alignment, that change affects all of the text in the label node. You can't only have one part of the text be one color, or only one part of the text be centered. To get around this limitation, you would use a rich text label. Rich text label allows the display of complex text markup in a control. It has a built-in API for generating the markup. Really? Okay. And it can also parse a BB code. So what's the built-in... So I'm using BB code here, but it says it has a built-in API for generating markup. So I can use markup language? That is like a basic thing, but I don't know. Scroll active. There are no BB code tags to control vertical centering of tags of text yet. Okay. And we are referencing 3.6, which is the engine that I'm on. Apparently Godot 4 does have that. But whatever. So we'll just keep this how it is for now. So let's take this. Do that. Let's copy this. And then in my script here, we're going to have to generate the, so func, generate, like, we'll just do format in BB code. We'll do format data. How about that? And this is just an internal function, so I need to prefix it with an underscore. It's not going to return anything. Or actually, yeah, it will return a string. And then, just for fun, let's, for right now, do a multi-line comment with what we have that we want to actually do. So pass for now. To do. That should clear that red line. Oh, it returned empty string with a to do. There we go. So synthocracy rear thruster overtune. So we're going to have to specify what the... So let's see. Let's set up our output. So we're going to do var output of type string equals this. We'll just... it defaults to being 0 value, I think, but just to be safe. So format data, we're going to set the output... We're going to do upgrade data dot title. So that should be there. And this corresponds to an entry in upgrades.gd autoload. So I know to look there if I want to know what upgrade data actually contains, because I can't specify the shape of this dictionary right now. In Godot 3. I think Godot 4, they're starting to mess around with typed dictionaries, but it's still pretty rough. So now we have to determine, like, okay, what is the... I just have variable names right now. So for the upgrades, for the effects, I just have, like, acceleration speed and mass. And that kind of looks silly. So what I might do, it could be messy, but let's just get this working for now. So build the string as we go. So I got to format the data. And basically... I'm going to have to go through every effect. So I'm going to do for E in upgrade data.effects. So this is going to be upgrades. This is going to be one of these. It's going to be a key and a value. So I'm going to have to do for key in upgrade effects dot keys. We are going to do if we're just going to do another match. We'll say match key, and we can just do ax speed because it's one of the keys. If it is that value, then what we can do is we can say output. So that I'm also going to add a new line at the end of this. So that way I can build the rest of this string as needed. So output plus equals, and then what we'll do is we will say acceleration speed. And then we'll do this. We'll do... I'm going to add another helper function to func format value. And what we'll do here is this will... We're going to do format float. And this will take in the value, which is of type float, and it will return a string, a formatted string. And what this format function is going to do is it's going to say, hey, is this value positive? Right? I guess I should say, because it depends on the context, because increasing your because some values might not, like increasing them might not be beneficial is what I'm trying to say. So let's just say, what should I do? Is that going to be positive or negative? Let's say positive effect. You know, for now, I'll just run into that. I'll just keep it. So is this value positive? So if we go if value greater or equal to 0, then yeah, it would be positive. Yes, positive. So we're going to return a string that is going to have color equals lime, and then we're going to do plus. We're going to cast it as a we're going to make it absolute. That way it's always positive in the string value. And then we're going to do plus, and we're going to do the ending color tag. So that should set that. And what we're going to do is we're going to do plus. And then no, it is not positive. So then we can return a similar thing, except it will be color red. So then we can say plus format float, and then we can put in upgrade data key, effect key, and that will pass in that value, and it will just add that. And then we have to have some sort of separator as well. So what I might do is I might just include the separator in here so that I can immediately just append it. So then what we can do is we can just go through and we can just match the rest of these. So let's see, dex speed. And then we can go output plus equals deceleration speed. Same format. And then we can go to turn speed. And then we can go to turn speed. And then what other ones do we have? We have so upgrades. So all this stuff here is floats so far. That's fine. And so far, everything increasing all of these is a positive. So we're fine. So acceleration speed, we have strafe speed. Strafe speed. So we can do something similar, and then we can just change this to be strafe speed. I'm just going to copy this. So now turn speed, we got max speed, we got HP max. So let's do max speed. And we'll change this one to max speed. And then what's the next one? What was it? I forgot already. So HP max. HP max. So we can say whole max whole. I don't know. Should be integrity, I guess. We'll just say max hull for now. I can always revise this as later. And then we're going to have shields HP max. So we'll do shields HP max. And we will say max shields. We'll include that. Cargo space and mass space. We'll do cargo space. We'll just say max. We'll just say cargo space. Max cargo space. We'll just do max cargo space. And then we also have mass space. We'll change this to max. Actually, no, this is not affecting max. This is just mass. So this we'll just do cargo. So maybe we'll change this to be available mass. And we'll just reduce that. That way this transforms this like identifier key to a human readable string, and it also formats the thing how we want. So we're appending all of that. So it's doing color, we're doing that already. We're including the separator. And then we also need to determine, so if it's not positive, it's going to be negative. So we were accounting for that as well. And for price, we have to format that. But we already have utility functions to format the currency. So that's fine there. And yeah. So mass space. So we've gone through all of the keys. So now we're going to say, just for fun, return our built string. So we can go return output. That's a redundant comment. I'm sure people would hate that, but that's fine. So we've gone through the upgrades. So now we can do the price. So format the price. So we can do here is output plus equals, and we can say price and we're going to do plus util.format currency. And then we can include, there's not even a price on here. Because the prices are determined by location. And I haven't added that yet. Okay. We are getting there. But I just have to do something like I did here. So I'll just have to include, let's go back to my upgrades list here. Upgrades. Copy. My locations, here we go. We'll do this, boom. And there is no base price listed for the upgrades either. So I should probably include the base price. But then we'll just include the modifier here. Bam, just like that. And then we will just boom, boom. That's all I've got now is 3. So we'll do synthocracy rear thruster overtune and synthocracy, what was it called? Forward thruster overtune. Yeah. So I have to include a base price in this as well, which is fine. I can do that. Anyway, I am going to take your advice though. I'm going to take a break because today kicked the shit out of me, and I feel like I'm just making a mess of things in the code right now. So, I'm just gonna go chill. I'm gonna have some dinner, maybe go to bed early. But yeah, anyway, thanks so much for stopping by. It was a really low energy stream today. I probably shouldn't have even streamed, but I got some work done, so it's not for nothing. So let's go ahead and let's just commit my code before we go. So we can do terminal, git status, git add, git status again. So git commit. Ooh, I feel a bit lightheaded. I need to eat something. Holy cow. Git commit dash m. So we need to specify what we're doing. Fumbling around with getting upgrades working, making a mess of things, tired, going to try later. There. Oh, there's unsaved work. God damn it. There we go. So let's go back here. Git status, git add, git status, git commit, unsaved work, git push origin main. There we go. My code is now in the cloud. And thank you so much. Have a good meal. I will. And now my code's committed. I'm free to take a break from this. So I'll probably be streaming again tomorrow, but who knows? If work kicks my ass again, I might just play it safe and maybe do something else. But yeah, thanks so much for stopping by. Thank you for your feedback on helping me design that stuff. I appreciate it. And yeah, catch you next stream.